What up, my honey bunnies? How is everybody? Shabbat shalom. I'm back off on a Friday. My schedule's kind of getting back to normal, which is nice. I've had a couple of days off. I've tried to use the most of every minute of daylight. I went on a 6-mile run today. I did a bunch of gardening. Just been running amok outside. And let's see, I've been cooking and using my herbs, and it's been really fun. So I'm excited. But yeah, we're here for our weekend discussion on our weekend reading. If you don't already, you can find me at Liz_Taylor_Magick on Instagram. And you will find the posts that we talk about for the anchor message, the midweek message, and the weekend message on Instagram. I post them midday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I make the videos later that day when I can, and then they get uploaded when they do. But it's not like a super strict timeline. I think that if you've been here for a minute, you kind of see that it is, each reading is like a progression of like an unfolding story. And it's ongoing, and it is for the week or for the few days surrounding that. But I mean, it's not like, it's not strict according to like what day this is about, if that makes sense. So there's nothing to worry about there as far as time goes. Also, it's with oracle and tarot readings, I feel that you can find one at any time and it might be relevant. The synchronicity might have there might be a message there for you anyway. I know for myself personally, sometimes the readers that I follow, they'll have a really old video that'll come up as a suggestion, but like the title hits and I'm just like, I think I need to see that. And even though it was made maybe a year ago or whatever, like the story or like the timeline, or like not the timeline, but like the lesson or whatever applies. So spirit is not limited by space or time. It's only an illusion of this 3D reality anyway. So just nerding out for a minute about that. So we back. I'm loving our structure right now with our wild unknown archetypes for Monday for the lessons for the week. And then we hone in with the wild unknown alchemy deck. And then each day is supplemented with a tarot deck. And then on the weekend, we're using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. This is one of the best and most favorite decks that I have found in a long time. So each card basically sums up the energy. I thought I saw the moon for a minute. Sums up the energy of all the placements of all the major planets in the zodiac, if that makes sense. So it goes through each planet and through each placement and talks about like what that aspect would give to the personality or a situation. So it's a really great way to delve deeper into astrology, just the understanding of what certain combinations would look like if you're interested in that kind of thing. But even if you don't know anything about astrology, the cards are still very user-friendly. Every scenario in mankind that we all deal with, like understanding that we all have sort of like the same blueprint as human beings, is going to be like described within all of these systems. So I don't know, I just think it's really cool. So for the weekend, we pulled from the Radiant Sun Oracle Acquisition, which is the sun in Taurus. I believe like Venus is doing a bunch of things right now. I know that Jupiter just moved into Taurus, I think. And so Jupiter and Venus are, going to be connecting and influencing one another in a positive way for the next year. So Jupiter expands in a fortunate way. Jupiter can also expand your overindulgence. So I know I've had to watch myself, but don't get too overindulgent and hedonistic, and too pleasure seeking and get into like a Dionysic, Pentecost, like a Dionysic inebriation or anything, but like, do lean into those themes that get you feeling tuned in, tapped in, turned on, right? So Jupiter can expand anything that Venus is ruling, like your love and money, the household, your most intimate surroundings. What you find brings you beauty and sensuous nourishment in your life, and how you feel, what makes you feel secure, but also enlivened, and like how that sustains in the long term, and like your ability to build that. So we've been, kind of trying to hone in our focus back on these things that we value, that we're trying to build, that bring our life more beauty and meaning. That's how we've been trying to recalibrate and recenter for this new beginning, to let go of all the things that aren't really authentic, so we can have a truly beautiful and meaningful and magical life that's really in authentic alignment with us, that elevates our soul. And that's not to say it's not going to come without challenge. It will. We're always going to be challenged. But it's that the challenges won't feel like burdensome toil and suffering, because we're excited about what we're doing and why. So just keep in mind that, if you follow where your heart and soul is calling you towards this blissful, hopeful, enthusiastic, optimistic, expansive, what makes you feel enlivened right now. Like, follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell says, and Jupiter will expand that. If you stay in misery or in old bad patterns, or go down a road of negativity, it's going to expand that too. So we got Sun in Taurus. We've got inspiration, which is Mercury in Pisces. And we've got friendship, which is Moon in Cancer. I have my Moon in Cancer. And so it was really fun and interesting reading about this card, which I have the book out, and we will read each one of these cards. I think that they're valid, but I'm also just going to wrap on the messages that were coming through. So under acquisition, we've got 9 of Swords. Under inspiration, we have 10 of Wands. And under friendship, we have the Sun. So really interesting energy going on right now. So I feel like it's like there's a truth about this as it applies to us, as it applies to like the grander picture of our soul growth, kind of our material comings and goings, and maybe how it applies to how we interrelate with others. So our feelings right now, Mars moving into Leo. We've just had the Sagittarius full moon, and so we're now finally into really the new, fresh cycle of the year. We're in it now. And so it's taken a long time to get this year started, and we've all been ready. And it's like this whole year has been like testing a hot rod, and we're souping it up, and we're trying to turn over that engine, we're trying to get it going, and it's just not ready for the road yet. And now we're just like, we're raring to go. Everything is like kind of in place. And so it's like we can see our vision and what we want for ourselves, what we want, this acquisition, the hunter came up, right? It's like we're seeing very clearly, and we're getting really clear on what we value and how it is that we want to get there, right? What the vision is that we want to create for ourselves. And we know how we know what we need to do, and we know what we want, but we're frustrated. This 9 of Swords is like sleepless nights and frustration and, worry. And a lot of times it's needless worry. But this is anxiety. And I think that this is the anxiety that's coming in contrast to not being where we want to be yet. we're angsty, we're impatient, we are worried, we're feeling like nothing's ever really going to work out, is it? We're feeling like, oh, are we ever going to get there? Or is this going to be just another, wrong turn? We are in this point of our manifestation that To Be Magnetic calls the magic dark. If you're interested in To Be Magnetic work, I do have a link below to their website. I have manifested an affiliate program with them. Yay! I've been saying I wanted it, and they created one. And then I signed up. So if you want to work on like unblocking your subconscious, rewriting new neural pathways, and working on like manifestation, but also like doing self-help work, and like how they interrelate, To Be Magnetic is like the perfect combination of doing that. They do have faith in things, but it's it's universally accepted, like people of all faiths and beliefs and religions or not, are members of this. It's science-based, but it's like taken the magic of manifestation and put like a scientific approach or structure to it. So if you are interested in that and you know a little bit about it, you can sign up through my affiliate link. Or if you are curious but you want to know more, they have a podcast called Expanded, and they have different types of episodes they do. Sometimes it's about their process and the neurology behind it and the science. Sometimes it is talking with a member who has been through the experiences of manifesting and going through challenges and tests, and they tell like how they navigated it all and then how their manifestation came through. And one of the most enticing of the phases of manifestation is the magic dark. And that is also related to, in Kabbalah, there are the 4 phases of creation. Phase 3 is the magic dark. Phase 3 is, creation phase 3 is when you have done all of this work to change, to break the shells of negativity, doing that healing work in the subconscious, becoming more like expanding your consciousness and elevating your soul, doing the hard things and taking the risks and putting yourself on the line and putting fervor and passion and effort into what you're trying to do. And it's just like nothing is working out. And it's like that is the universe's test. It's the initiation to see if you're going to resign yourself to despair and just give up. Now, sometimes the thing that you're trying at doesn't work out. But if you don't give up and you don't despair, then all of that effort is there, and it's there waiting for when you shift your energy and focus into the thing that is supposed to hit or whatever that's meant for you, right? But if you go into despair and you give up and you resign yourself and you lose faith, then you kind of lose the energy that you've invested. So think of your energy as like your investment, and your faith is a guarantee that you'll have like a rollover deposit or whatever, you know what I mean? So acquisition, it's like we're so frustrated because like we can see it all so clearly, and we are like, why? Well, like it's just not happening the way I want or on my time yet, and it's, we're getting impatient. But use that energy, that tension, that desire, that angst to overcoming your patterns that are holding you back. And so right now you are stirred up into all this angst and you're provoked, right? And you're like, your buck meter is turned up. The other night I was like, I feel like just buck right now. And you might be agitated by the universe so that your triggers that you've been working so hard on neutralizing, you may not be as triggered as easily anymore, but you might still have some like lingering things that need to be dealt with that will help you go into this next phase of your life like truly in a higher state of being, where you can really rise above those old situations and experiences and patterns that you went through. But in order to do that, you got to see them. They're hiding under the rug. They're deep behind the furniture. And so you got to move the furniture. So the universe has been putting the pressure on you lately so that it can like hit you with these little tipping points. I found like this huge nail, this rusty nail out in the forest the other day. It was like the nail that just like the nail in the coffin kind of thing. Like the nail, it could represent so much. But it's like that, those triggers coming up, it's like, don't be reactive to them, but pay attention and think back to what they remind you of. I know that things that have been happening to me throughout the week have triggered things from my distant past and things from my adolescence and early childhood that felt like almost the same situation happening again. And I felt triggered in the moment. I had to pause and just walk away and think about it and sit with it, you know, and examine that. And it's so funny because it's just this opportunity every time to re-examine something that's still lingering under the surface. So, but I could have in that moment gotten triggered and went with the story and gotten like caught up in like the soap opera and gotten buck and gone down that same path where I'm going to pop off and I'm going to wreck something, right? Pattern. It's this difficult toil that we're trying to come over, right? So to overcome. So use your spiritual alchemy, right? We're turning lead into gold. But the thing about turning lead into gold is that you have to, like, the pressure and the fire do create the catalyst for the transmutation. But in the process, all the waste and the impurities and the refuse have to be removed so that nothing that's not gold won't be there anymore, or else you won't have gold. You'll have something else, but it won't be gold unless you remove what doesn't belong, the elements that don't belong. So right now, 9 of Swords, this discomfort is coming up for you to apply that pressure into this transmutation, but it's not going to do any good if you don't remove all the things that are holding you back still, which is your garbage, which is your, you know, it's not just garbage, but some of it is, you know, some of it's your own bullshit, some of it's your own denial, some of it's the way you lie to yourself and others. But some of it is just like deep wounds, you know, that still need compassion, that still need healing, that still need attention. Some of it is just patterns that you've been on repeat that you're unaware of, right? How much have we been conditioned by just what we're used to being around? And maybe we're just used to being in an echo chamber, but maybe there's other ways, right? So we're trying to rise above like what we're used to and where our old ways of thinking and doing so that we can have a different experience. But in order to live and have a different experience, we've got to become different. And so part of that is breaking these patterns. 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is like, you've gotten to a point where it's just not worth it anymore, right? This person is like trying to pick up the pieces. They're exhausted. It's like the 10 of Wands energy is something that you keep putting all this energy into, but it's not giving you any value back. And it's not worth the effort. And it's just become this like hardship and a burdensome toil and a pattern that you keep repeating that is not for you anymore. But it's just starting to break you down instead of like, at first lessons can serve to help you. But if you keep circling around again and again and again, eventually they just start wearing you down and eroding you and breaking you down. Somebody brought up a good point today that like, it was on the internet. It's just a little slice of wisdom. But she was like, you know, we like bread. We like all kinds of bread and we eat bread for different reasons. And bread can be good for you, right? But if you eat bread when it's moldy, that's not good for you. And so everything has this expiration date. And so if you stay past the expiration date, then all that was good is now gone and only the worst is left. And that really hit hard because that's exactly the lesson that I had to learn when my last serious relationship was coming to an end. it's like I was struggling with my spiritual beliefs, and I didn't know whether like the answer was to power through and to keep pushing and make it work, or whether the lesson was to walk away, right? That this was just a pattern, and that I was settling for something that was not really meant for me in the long run, that had served its purpose, but that overstaying now, there was nothing left to be had that was positive or nurturing or good for either one of us. We would only continue to tear each other apart because we would be staying out of a sense of duty and, obligation, or, just trying to do the right thing, but it wouldn't be, our heart wasn't in it, right? So just building resentment. And I mean, that's doing damage to each other on a soul level for, sometimes people never figure out how to reverse that kind of damage. And for how long we have kept going. So sometimes, it's like, you just have to accept that you have to let go of what is not, what has become expired. So all of this angst about not being where you want to be yet, use that as fuel, as inspiration to help you overcome your old patterns, your old tendencies, to create new stories for yourself and get yourself into better states of mind around better, supportive, nurturing environments and groups of people. One of the messages from our Oracle manifestation message this week was surround yourself with positive influences and people. And so, it's like you've got to heal your energy field and purge it of like all of this toil and suffering and negativity so that you can really go forward and be inspired. And then finally, friendship. So this leads right into that. Surround yourself with positivity and positive influences. There's so many schools of thought out there that say that we are the sum of the 5 people that we have around us most of the time. So think about the 5 people that you talk to most, that you see most often. Those people, their energy, their mindset is going to influence you, and you're going to be like a fifth of that person is good. That's going to make up you. So think clearly and carefully about like what kind of energy that you put around yourself. But friendship, like lean on your friends, let your friends help. Let your friends bring you joy and have fun and be lighthearted. It's when we can let go and find that state of joy again and be accepted by our friends that aren't really judging us. They don't have an agenda or anything usually. That we can just relax and be ourselves and just recenter and recalibrate, So really embrace friendships. I feel that, there's this awakening, right? The Sun card is here. The Sun card is about having been awakened to a new state of consciousness and elevation. It's like, oh, wow, there's all this joy and abundance unfolding, and things are really starting to come into fruition and fall into place. And this is a very big confirmation, yes, in the deck. For the major arcanas, it's like a capital Y-E-S, yes, if you're asking a question. This is about a new beginning, like in a major cycle. The sun has shone, so it's like about illumination. It usually depicts a naked baby, sometimes riding a white horse away from a wall, but it's about innocence and purity and fresh starts and new life and new beginning. So I feel like there's a lot of promise, and look, he's like going after a little lollipop. So there's a lot of sweetness and a lot of joy to be had. And I think that it starts, like there might even be new opportunities for new relationships to come in. But it's like it starts within your friendships. This could be someone you meet through your friends, or it could be someone that you have a friendship, with, or maybe you're building new friends that are going to be super supportive and nurturing in the things that you want to create, right? Maybe they have like common interests and common understanding of you. So yeah, I mean, lean into the community that you're building right now. I do feel that, so that's kind of how things are applying to us. It's about like putting all of that energy into your spiritual alchemy, using it as inspiration to go forward and continue to create, even through the challenge. But use that to identify your patterns right now and move through them and break them. Now, there's another, like, from another perspective, you might be worried about other people. And you might like have people in your life that are going through things that you're sad for them. I mean, I saw something, you know, just like really sad news with a family member that she posted on social media that like my niece had lost a pregnancy. And I was just like, oh, it's so sad for her. You know, her and her husband are so sweet and their children are so sweet and they're excited about starting, you know, expanding their family. And so it's like, you just feel like, you know, you want to be there, or you don't know what to say, you know, and you worry for people, and it's like you want to help. There's nothing you can do sometimes. And that's just one of the things. Like I know so many people right now that are having different kinds of challenges. And it's like we worry about these people because we can see that there's potential for them, and we can see, you know, even, you know, we're worried about our own stuff, but we're worried about other people too. And we can see how like they have so much talent, or they have so much promise, or whatever, or, you know, we can see that things are going to be okay, but they can't see it yet. They're still struggling, you know? So it's like the people that are on your heart right now that are struggling, just use all of the things that you've learned through your own spiritual practice and through your own self-help and personal development to be a friend to those who are struggling, and to inspire them and try to nurture them and be there for them, and just be a friend to them. And by, you know, being just your nurturing and caring self, you know, with no, you know, without interfering, you know, but without just being happy, source of joy for people and inspiration. It's like it helps them find the sun again. So it's like you don't have to be so worried about knowing what to do, or knowing exactly what to say, or doing the right thing or not doing the right thing, or like screwing up. It's just being there for people goes a long way. Bringing them, you know, joy and a place to be safe or relax or feel heard, right? Sometimes it's so cathartic just to feel like you've been able to say all that you wanted to someone and they listen. And it doesn't even mean that they're part of the situation. It's just like you just need to get it off your chest and feel like someone heard you all the way through and really understands where you're coming from, you know? So be a friend, have fun with your friends, let joy and abundance and sunshine and the light repair you, right? The light, the source, our creator, the light is really what we need, what we're reaching for, what's going to give us renewal and inspiration and healing, right? But it's like we've got to connect with the light. The light's always there. The sun is always shining, but we've got to go out and be in the sun, right? So be in the sun. And now let us read I'm trying to make these shorter. We're already at 30 minutes. Okay. Acquisition. The sun in Taurus. Fortune, material values. An excessively, exquisitely dressed couple promenade, showing their finery for all to see. The symbol above is a ritual voodoo diagram known as Urzuli, which represents the desire for a marriage bond and shows the love of perfume and jewelry. I was like, I love perfume and jewelry. I'm also a cusp. Like my birthday is the 19th, so the 20th would be Taurus. And I think it's interesting the ways that I'm like not Taurus, but the way I am Taurus. It's so funny. Okay, so the personal application of this card is Sun and Taurus. Personalities have a strong sense of purposeful determination and power. They have a natural ability to achieve mastery over physical matter, and for this reason, often express a sense of real value of material possessions. The ability of people with this combination to build and make things grow, coupled with their strong need for security, acts as a powerful drive towards achievement. Sun and Taurus characters know exactly what is required to satisfy their every need and let nothing stand in the way of acquiring this. Emotional and sensitive, people with this aspect have a strong sense of beauty and appreciate the good things in life. Traits that make an otherwise practical character a confirmed romantic. Traits that make an otherwise practical character a confirmed romantic. Great comfort is highly attractive to the Sun Taurean and is an incentive in decision making. But this love of comfort ensures that change doesn't come easily, and an obstinate and willful Taurian nature can resist to the point of detriment. So be careful not to resist change, because it could be to your detriment right now. In a reading, this card shows a strong desire to achieve financial independence and often indicates the ability to amass a comfortable amount of money. The danger when this card appears is that a natural love for life's pleasures will express itself in greed, over-lavish behavior, and ostentation. Remember, we're talking about Jupiter expanding Taurus, not to get too hedonistic or like impractical or lavish. The card also indicates a need to hold on to possessions and may indicate challenge to ownership. Events, those involving pleasure, artistic encouragement, or expensive indulgence. Resistance to change, a dispute over possessions, discovery of something of value, a win, gift, or a surprise receipt of money. Ooh, speaking of a surprise receipt of money, if you're ever wondering if I have a PayPal or a Venmo, the link is in my description box below. Just couldn't help but use that cue right there. But some people do ask about that, so it's there if you are interested in patronizing my channel. Okay, and so our next card is Inspiration. This is Mercury in Pisces, change, understanding, sympathy, and sacrifice. A draped figure dances, one arm raised to the heavens, the other to earth, in a linking of the spiritual and material dimensions. A sun face with closed eyes shines palely above a stone building. The Mercury-Pisces combination indicates an extremely vivid imagination that finds it easy to visualize thoughts and ideas, and reveals a personality type with a natural ability to please others. Highly intuitive, almost telepathic on the unconscious level, people with this planet sign combination have an imaginative talent that could be profitable in creative or artistic worlds. Many writers and creative artists have this aspect. Poets, writers, or not, Mercury Pisceans have the ability to add imaginatively to the world around them. They arrive at conclusions through intuitive perception rather than logical reasoning, like a psychic sponge soaking up the feelings and thinkings of others. Mercury Pisceans have a tendency to be secretive about their inner thoughts and ideas, and an excessive use of their natural ability to dwell on fantasies may lead to flights of neurotic escapism. Positively, they can put this ability to imaginative use if they dare share their thoughts with others. The combination of Mercury and Pisces produces constantly fertile mind that can jump from one fantastic idea to the next with ease. Ideal for storytelling or when one needs to tune into the thoughts and needs of others. In a reading, this card shows that there is an instinctive answer to the question if the inquirer will open up his or her inner vision. It indicates that the questioner already knows the answer but refuses to face up to it. I think what we talked about, like doing what needs to be done, like you know what needs to be done. Inspired writing, imaginative storytelling, inventing excuses, constructing a dream world, confused or wishful thinking. So one of the themes that I noticed coming up was definitely about using your imagination, your feelings, and your visualization to call in your manifestation, right? We need to make sure that we've focused our intention and our energy, and what we're thinking and what we're speaking and what we're doing and what we're feeling are in alignment with the vibration that we want to call in. Because if we're not vibrating that and we're not sending out that frequency, then we're in dissonance to what we desire. So be mindful that you are manifesting at any given time. And so you want to hone in your energy and your intention and fine tune that and tune your radio dial to what you want to attract in. So there's also a lot of suggestion to focus your creative imagination and visualization on what you want. Be careful not to get lost in a dream world or a fantasy world or just imagining without taking action or without change actually occurring. So don't be in denial. Don't be too much in a dream world. Don't be obsessively confused about your options or fantasizing about choices rather than trying anything, because that can be detrimental to your forward progress. Also, there's a repeat theme on intuitive and empathic, psychic, sensing. So this last card, it mentions it as well. Friendship. Moon in Cancer. Security, nurturing, attachment. Above, children play in a wheat field among the cornflowers. They share the delight of the flight of the heron. Below, either side of the crescent moon, symbolizing fruitfulness, are two ancient alchemical symbols of the moon metal, silver. Personal. The moon is the natural ruler of the sign Cancer. And people with this planet sign combination are comfortable with their emotions. Moreover, somewhat like the mother hen, they seem to be able to feel everybody else's as well. To moon Cancerians, the world really is how they feel it to be. If that turns out to be tough, they can hard shell those around them with their out and out defensive crabbiness. Emotionally, moon Cancerians are at their best when all is well with home and family. For them, family is all. Friends become family and family become friends. The early influence of parents, whether enjoyed or not, remains a strong influence throughout life. This position of the moon also shows the potential for becoming a good cook or at least a lover of good food. However, upset emotions can cause Cancerians digestive problems that may well reverse this indication, focusing concentration instead on nurturing the family. When this card occurs in a reading, it indicates a shrewd business ability if the questioner dares launch out on his or her own. Often when the friendship card occurs, it highlights an almost psychic sensitivity to the thoughts and feelings of others. The person asking the question may be called upon in the future to act as a shoulder to cry on for a close friend or family member. Events. Situations such as important family gatherings and celebrations of anniversaries, inheritance of heirlooms, genealogy, distant relations, moving house, sharing a friend or family member's problems. So yes, be there for anybody going through struggles around you. Be a friend, be a shoulder to cry on, be open-hearted when listening, and don't forget to also be mindful of your own boundaries as well. So that's one of the downsides of Cancer. And kind of like this Piscean, this Mercury in Pisces, it's like when you're so tuned into how others feel and like that telepathic like connection that sometimes you just don't know what's yours and what's not. And it can be very hard to like hold your boundaries because you're so empathic of how someone else feels that it's like you're feeling their suffering too. And it's hard not to want to alleviate that suffering because you're feeling it as well. But sometimes that's not like our place. And sometimes we can't interfere with other people. They have to do their own thing. They have to be the hero of their own life and pass their own initiation. So it's like we've got to be there, you know, in our, like in a certain fine line between overly like helping and enabling people, or being, you know, coddling people, or just telling them everything's okay when it's not, or, you know, just continuing to go through something again and again and again when it needs to come to an end. And then when to, you know, how much should you do? How much should you say? You know, these are all things that we learn to workshop through in Kabbalah classes. And I say Kabbalah classes through the Kabbalah Center, Kabbalah.com. Yeah, there's not like an affiliation through them. They're a nonprofit, so you can just go and find them on your own. Sign up yourself. But yeah, so those things are, I mean, that's the difficulty of life, is building your ability to discern and be wise and compassionate and strong and with boundaries. Being true to yourself, but also not being so selfish that you're not like, you know, that you're like completely like into your own agenda, you know, and like, but then also not being a doormat. So it's like finding a balance, and that balance is different for everybody, because people are already like, some people are overly giving, they overgive, and, you know, some people take. So it's about finding that middle ground. You know, the people who overgive tend to attract people who gaslight them so that they can continue to take, to siphon, right? So for a person who overgives to think that the solution is for them to be kinder, it only causes them to slip into a deeper vice, you know, whereas, you know, to bring that virtue, to bring it more into a balance of virtue, it would be to have better judgment, right? Whereas someone who has that tikkun on the side of the judgment scale, and they're more selfish and they're always taking, it's like they're challenged to be more caring and more compassionate and more sharing. So you have to be honest with where you really are and where you really fall before you know what the medicine is. So think about what's easiest for you. Where is your default setting? Where is your first reactive response? You know, we're usually pushed to go out of our comfort zone and do what's not as easy, you know, or what we don't automatically do. So to push ourselves to grow. So sorry, 45 minutes. I'm trying, you guys. All right, yesterday was shorter. All right, y'all, tomorrow night is Secret Teachings of Jesus. So I will see you if you're up in the middle of the night. If not, I'll probably see y'all Sunday morning. Ciao.